Spencer, a pre-season friendly with Woking this afternoon. How do you think it went?
Just had the most mental sort of 72 hours really. I thought the first half we were truly awful, and it's an opportunity to look at trialists. We're in the position we are. Sadly, we were found massively wanting. I thought we were absolutely shocking, and I thought second half was the complete opposite from dominance. It was the old cliche second half, but we've still got a very long way to go. So we're very realistic, and there were a couple of positives, but also pre-season's often a time to realise that certain players aren't good enough for this level for one reason or another, and we faced predominantly the Woking Academy with 3 or 4 trialists, and some of which we know from our level, and in the first half we were very much found wanting. In the second half, to a large degree, I thought we were found wanting as well. As much as we dominated possession, we were seriously lacking a cutting edge.
Yeah, and we didn't score from open play. Our goal came from set piece. Plenty to work on ahead of next week.
Well, it's more than just work on. We need some more strikers at the club. We've done so much work already in the last weeks, really, on the striker front. And we know it's an area that we're nowhere near at the moment. And we brought in a young lad today on trial he's played sort of 70 odd minutes. I've got another 2 that I'm hoping desperately to try and get in for next week, but it's touch and go. The situation with Connor's not great. And obviously what happened on Thursday, look, it is what it is. We came away from our chat on Wednesday night and we were relatively positive. We've got a lot of last year. I think defensively we look reasonably sound. We've got some great news. Obviously, I said John Anunga's gone. Thursday morning I had the best text message I've had in weeks. John Anunga is going to be here for the FA Cup. He's interviewed at another university. He's hopeful that he's going to stay in London, and then he'll stay, which is just, I said in the text, the best news I've had for a month. And then I get the text message I found out at 5-3 with Celia Harris. So, with the Celia Harris situation, we had no warning whatsoever. He's been absolutely superb for his pre-season. He's been at every session. He signed a form on Wednesday night. He was retained last year, and if he decided to leave in the summer, that could have, we would have understood that. But we've had no notice at all. He hasn't spoken to me. I'm not going to go into it, but the amount of work we put into him in 2.5 years, both on and off the pitch, is more than any other player I've ever dealt with in 23 years of management. And the door's still open for him. Unfortunately, there's a third party that's got involved. There's another club that's got involved. His head's clearly been turned. But, just so the supporters understand, he's been retained. If he chooses to leave, which he can, he's perfectly within his rights to train and trial. But if he signs for another club, we'll be entitled to compensation. And we're pretty damn sure it'll be an awful lot of compensation, because he's been here a long time. He's been through 2 contracts, and the support and work we've put into him, we're entitled to compensation. So, I'd love to have him back, and we'll see what happens in the next few days. I'm hoping to get to speak to him, but at the moment he's not taking calls, and there's an agent involved. So we'll see what it is. But we don't stop players moving on. But the disappointing is the timing, and just completely out of the blue. So the John Anunga news was fantastic, and I'm also pleased to say that we've agreed, and we're just literally doing the paperwork on Monday for Bradley Pearce to come on a half-season loan. So it's almost like our player from Sutton. Obviously he's known here. He's a centre half. We're thrilled to have him back. So that deal's agreed by all parties. We're literally doing the paperwork. So I do think defensively, we're looking very similar to last year. If John stays, which we're now positive about, fingers crossed, he'll be here for the FA Cup minimum. We've got a lot of strength and depth there, bearing in mind you've got CJ injured. Central midfield, obviously Louis Dunn this morning sadly came down with an illness, so he wasn't here, but we know he's got quality, but we need to sort out where we are in the middle there. And then we know we've got issues up front. We've got to bring in some more strikers. We know that, it's the big area, and the players are starting to drop down from other levels, so we're starting to have chats with players, and we'll see what happens. But it's something we've just got to work so hard on. But it's just been the most crazy 48 hours for us, completely out of the blue, quite depressing in a lot of ways. But still thrilled with the fact we've got John Anunga back, and we've got Bradley coming, and we'll move forward with that.
And we've got our final pre-season friendly on Tuesday against Basingstoke Town. Another home game, another good test as well.
Well, it will be, but again, we desperately don't I want to try and get away from trialists, but clearly we need trialists up top. We need to put pressure clearly with the Connor situation, with unavailability, and others that don't at the moment are struggling to find the level. So we've got to bring in strikers. We also lost Fitz from Wednesday night through an injury. So the injuries are piling up. CJ possibly for next weekend, possibly. So the injuries are racking up. So it's another game where normally I'd be playing the team that's going to start in the FA Cup next week, but it won't be that either on Tuesday night. So we've just got to sharpen up the players, and looking at trialists, it can be a bit depressing. And I've come away from the game and gone in the first half in particular. The lads that come in on trial sadly didn't perform at the level we require. But we'll continue to work hard. As I said, there are some great pluses. The John coming and Bradley, and there were little slippage today. There was another trialist in the second half who did quite well, who's played a bit at step 3. So there are some bits there, but we know that our cutting edge and the strikers is an issue, and the strikers are obviously very hard. And the first and foremost thing this year is the club needs to survive on and off the pitch. So that we know we're at the bottom of the pool there. So we have to be realistic with this pandemic. So we'll see what we can get. It may not happen in the next week. It may take 2 or 3 weeks, because the conference clubs are only really sort of starting their pre-season. I spoke to another conference club this morning, and they've only done 2 sessions so far. So the fall through on players isn't quite there yet, but we'll get it right eventually. And it was good to see a decent crowd here today. And yeah, it wasn't a great performance, particularly in the first half, and it wasn't that much better in the second half. But sometimes you have to take positives from negatives, and it showed up that sadly some lads aren't quite ready for this level yet. And we thank them for coming in, and we'll see what happens as we move forward.
And a week today we have our big FA Cup game against Lymington Town. You ended today with penalties to practice ahead of next Saturday.
And boy, do we need that as well. I mean, I just thought let's just put Beachy taking them as well. I mean, Beachy 4 saves out of 5, I think it was. And our penalties were awful. I appreciate those aren't necessarily the penalty takers, because there were lots of people that were off the pitch. But at the end of the day, we wanted to have a penalty shootout. It's so difficult in training to replicate penalties, and the fact that it goes to penalties after 90 minutes is a real possibility. So again, we're going to ask the officials in Basingstoke to do that on Tuesday night. Basingstoke profited for winning on penalties in their first round of the FA Cup, so you can see how important it is, and you can see from our penalties that level of practice. It's just good to do it in front of a crowd. So yeah, we're all focused at the moment, more than ever this season, on the next game, and the next game obviously is Lymington, next competitive game, and we know how tough that's going to be, but we're looking forward to it. Can't wait. It's the FA Cup. I don't care how good of players they might have. We're Farnborough, we've got good players here. Yes, we're short in some areas, yes, we're behind a bit, but we're working ever so hard. And the news with AJ was obviously horrific and quite upsetting in a lot of ways, but the door's still open, and fingers crossed. Worst case, the club I think will do very well financially out of it. From a playing perspective, as the manager, I just want him to come back and realise, he's been fantastic this pre-season. He's been a complete change this pre-season, and it's the timing and just a message on the WhatsApp group that's just completely thrown me. But I hope he comes back. But if not, we'll find others that want to play for the shirt. There's no one bigger than the club. Anybody, management, owners, anybody, players for sure. So if he wants to move on, he wants to move on. But let's thank the lads that have been here today, working hard. And as I said, we've got some good pluses. I think we're looking a lot stronger defensively. And now we've got to sort the other key area of the park out and start finding some goals.
Brilliant. Thanks for the catch up, Spencer.
Thanks, Dom.